Kyle Hall, and I am the principal here at Seaholm High School. I've been at Seaholm for over 30 years as an English teacher first, and as a administrator next. And then for the last 5 years, I've been principal of this fine school. And I have seen some wonderful things happen over these last 5 years. We received the National Blue Ribbon in recognition of our excellence, and we were able to go to Washington, D.C. and receive that honor, and that was very, very exciting based on our academic excellence and also our closing of the achievement gap and statistics that were surrounding that. So very, very proud of that. Also proud of the fact that last year, or 2019, we received it last year, but 2019, we were recognized as a National School of Character as well. So we're very, very excited about that and the work that our staff and our students did to really make us live into the commitment that we were making to character education here at Seaholm. So very exciting things happen here at Seaholm, and we are really thrilled to have you as a part of all of that. So welcome. I'm going to introduce you to quite a few people, but first we thought, even though we couldn't be here in the building to have a little excitement, I'm going to ask that we play a video, a couple-minute video that will show you a little bit of excitement and what goes on here at Seaholm. So Mr. Wicker, if you wouldn't mind being the technical wizard here. Well, thank you, Mr. Wicker. And I hope that just gives you and shows you a little bit of the highlights of things here. One of the most wonderful things, and the reason, one of the great rewards of being a teacher for so long and being a teacher in general, is to watch the development of our students in the 4 years that they are here. And as you can imagine, I mean, for many of you, this is your first child to enter Seaholm, or if it's your 5th child to enter Seaholm, the difference that you're going to find from when you're a freshman and you enter our school until the senior that you graduate is nothing short of miraculous. Okay, so I know it's been a difficult year for you with the pandemic, and I recognize that, but I think we can still see that even despite these circumstances, that our students are growing, they are maturing, they are strengthening, they are showing grit and resilience from our athletes. Our girls just won state swimming to the 4 presidential scholars that we just saw named or nominated. We are doing a lot of great work here. Okay, so I want to reassure you of that. And so that's what tonight is about, is to show and share a little bit of what goes into that development. And I want to introduce you to some really important people who are going to lead you and help and support you through these next 4 years. So first, I'm going to ask my assistant principals to introduce themselves and to just briefly talk about, their role in the building and how they plan to support you moving forward. So I have Delois Spryzak and then Mike Wicker.
Good evening, everyone, and hi, I am Delois Spryzak. I'm currently the assistant principal for grades 11 and 12, but for next year, I will be the assistant principal for your son or daughter, the class of 2025. And jokingly, we say you don't want your child to meet us because that means they're in trouble, but that's far from the truth. We want you to see the assistant principals as a resource, as a place of support, information. Whenever you need someone to have a question answered or just to guide your son or daughter in the right direction, please feel free to reach out to us. And again, I'm looking forward to being your son or daughter's assistant principal for the next 4 years. Mr. Wicker?
Thank you, Ms. Spryzak. So one of the things, I will not be directly involved in the same way that Ms. Spryzak will be, but she and I are a team, so we work together on a lot of things. Again, most people think of the assistant principal role as one as discipline, but we work on things like helping match students up with clubs and starting clubs and finding their interests. Simple things like helping them find their way around the building, and lots of different things that make Seaholm more than just a school. Because, while we are really proud of our high level of academics we have at Seaholm High School, it's so much more than just the classes the kids go to. So we have a great staff that teaches classes, that leads clubs, that coaches sports, that plan the musical and run the robotics team, and every single thing that your student may be interested in. And we have staff there to help find or create opportunities if there's not something that we already have in place that they would like to do. So, one of my jobs I feel like is to help facilitate this experience for students, because I feel like your time at Berkshire, Derby, BCS, or maybe one of the parochial schools, you really start to figure out what you want to get into. And then in the high school, we have so much more. We allow kids to go so much more in depth in their interests. And if kids are struggling to find those interests, we are here along with teachers and the counselors, to help kids along their way. So again, your kid probably will not be sent to my office like they might be sent to Mrs. Spryzak, but we are always the first ones to tell the kids, if we call you down to the assistant principal's office, it does not always mean that you're in trouble, that we sometimes just like to talk to kids too.
Well, thank you. And I want to definitely support what they both just said. We are a great team here, and we care about students. And sometimes kids make mistakes and they find their way down to us, but those are sometimes really good lessons learned too. Make them now, make them when you're young, okay, and learn when you're young. And so that's kind of our motto here, and we all make mistakes. The mistakes won't define you. It's how you respond after that and how you behave after that. And so make sure that those habits, okay, that you start to learn are really going to follow you and hold you in good stead throughout the 4 years that you're here. But we're going to help you do that. No one is expecting you to be perfect. We also have, with our character education, a student advisory board that we've been working with too, and Ms. Spryzak and Mr. Wicker are going to work with you on that. So if you're interested in being a part of our student advisory, we have at least a dozen in each grade level. That might be something you're interested in, leadership roles. That will be definitely a possibility for you moving forward. We definitely want to hear what you have to say.
But real quick, Ms. Hall, if they want to be perfect, we are okay with that as well. I mean, we don't expect them to be perfect, but it's okay if they are.
And so I also want to introduce you to an important face, especially to parents here, and that is to my administrative assistant, Kathy Tingeris. And Kathy is going to walk you through, I think, Mike, if you make her able to share her screen, if that's a possibility, she was going to introduce herself, tell the parents and the students a little bit about herself and her role, and then maybe show them what our webpage looks like, where they can find lots of good, solid information. Kathy?
Thank you. Welcome, everybody. It's nice to see new faces, and we are looking forward to welcoming you into the building for next year. I am one of the assistants in the administrative office, and I'm here tonight representing the Seaholm support staff. So just like at your middle school, Seaholm has friendly, welcoming secretaries, hall monitors, and security guards throughout the building that answer questions, help solve issues, and support our MAPEs. Because we have more staff at the high school level, we're able to specialize in various areas of the building, including media center, bookkeeping, counseling office, attendance, student records, and the reception area. Our hall monitors are engaging with students all day long while they patrol the building, and our security guards protect our common entrances at the front entrance and at the pool doors leading to the student parking lot. And yes, they probably will be driving to school at some point, so we will take care of them even outside of the building. I also want to give you a heads up, as you transition to the high school, you'll be receiving communications from us beginning in August. So in the meantime, do not unsubscribe from your middle school, because doing so will drop you from all of the Birmingham communications. And once we roll over the student database, we will know you're going to be joining us at Seaholm, and we will be reaching out to you via email with information about registration, textbook pickup, and fall athletics. So please stay subscribed to BPS email, and we will communicate with you as we have more information for fall activities and events. In the meantime, the website, as Mrs. Hall mentioned, is always an excellent place to start a tour and to gain insight information on Seaholm, calendar updates, current information about everything that's going on at school. So our homepage is colored red because we are maroon and white. So you'll know that you're in the right place when you see our colors. Up at the upper right-hand corner, you'll notice a couple of different icons that will take you to the staff directory, enrollment information, our calendar for Seaholm, Power School for parent logins, and the athletic page. As you'll notice in the middle of the page, we feature some of our most recent photos of our students in the various activities in the building. And then over on the left-hand side, down just a little bit, it says quick links. And this is an excellent place to start searching for information that you might need on a regular basis. Building contacts is always a good one when you need support and assistance with anything. That will give you a good guide of who does what and how to get a hold of them. Our class schedule is also listed there, shuttle schedule, lunch schedule, and any other kind of calendar that you might need to know. So that's an excellent place to start a search. I also want to make you aware that there is a link to information for the freshman welcome and the class of 2025. That is the same information that we are covering this evening. So if you want to go back and view it at your leisure, the department heads all have presentations there, and you can view this as you choose in the future. The body of the website will have all of our updates from administration, all current activities, clubs, and scheduling information that you'll need as well. So please feel free to reach out to me through the website if you have any questions at all. My email is there, and I answer the phone when you call. So I look forward to meeting you soon.
Thanks, Kathy. And really, I think that you'll find if you ever need to come into the main office and see me, and I hope you do, that Mrs. Tingeris will be there to greet you with a very, very warm smile. And she's always enjoys seeing our students and parents. So please feel free to come in and say hello. Also on that webpage that she just showed you, there will also be, for later in our program, links, Zoom links to our department chairs for the last part of our program where they will be available to answer questions about their disciplines. Again, on that website, on that Welcome Class of 2025 tab, each of the department chairs has put in a video of an overview of their curricular requirements and the department philosophy, et cetera. So you can definitely look at that again and again. Today, they will be available for questions that you might have specific to their discipline. And so that link is those Zoom links that you'll find at that time are on that. They're on the main page, and they're also underneath the class of 2025. So we hope that information is helpful to you. And so it really will be a guide. When in doubt, go to the webpage and see if you can find what you're looking for that you have a question about, and then definitely contact us. I'm going to now turn the program over to an important part, an important discipline or department in our building, and that's the counseling department. And Mrs. Christy Fakaris, who is our counseling department chair, and she's going to share quite a bit of information with you. I know some of you attended the open house and you're thinking, well, I got some of this information, but actually today we're going to show you what our daily schedule presumably will look like, and a variety of things on how to select courses. And so some of the questions that were asked in our Flex English Social Studies presentation maybe hopefully will be answered here, so that you'll see that. And there's, again, going to be a lot of information, and we hope that you find it helpful and useful, but you're always welcome to reach out and talk to us with any questions that you might have. So Mrs. Fakaris, welcome.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I'm Christy Fakaris, Counseling Department Chair and Counselor for the students with the last name starting W through Z, and I'll get a little bit more into that. This is exciting. The years are flying by. This is my 28th year at Seaholm High School. Can't believe it. So welcome, future MAPEs. This is exciting. So I'm going to share my screen and take you through a presentation. This presentation was delivered to BCS on January 22nd and Derby on January 25th. So it will be a review for our students, which is always a good thing. And I want the parents to hear the exact same information we delivered to your students. And for our private and parochial families, welcome. And by the way, this presentation is on our Seaholm counseling page. It is under the class of 2025, all this information that I will be presenting tonight. And again, this actual presentation as well. So here we go, counselor assignments. Students are assigned their counselor by their last name, and they will stick with their counselor all 4 years. So again, an example here, I have the students with the last name starting W through Z. The students will stick with their counselor all 4 years, and we want to do that so we get to know the student, the family, and we have time to establish that relationship. In counseling, we have 3 main curricular areas: academic advising, college and career guidance, and social emotional support. In addition to the 5 counselors that you see here in the alpha breakdown, we have Mrs. Cherie Wilson. She is our wellness and crisis counselor. She is a full-time wellness and crisis counselor dedicated to our Seaholm students. She doesn't have a specific caseload. She's available to students A through Z, and you don't have to have an appointment. She takes drop-in, and she sees students on a regular basis. Both Mrs. Wilson and Ms. Festian hold a number of different groups based on the needs of our students in the building. Sometimes it may be a group about grief. It may be a group that's dealing with some anxiety issues. And of course, this is on a volunteer basis, but we have various student groups that we run throughout the year. So at Seaholm and Groves, the 2 high schools are on a trimester schedule. So I'm giving you some general start and end dates or timeline. So this year we started at the end of August. So the district calendar has not been set. We will learn about that together once that's been determined, but we will start the school year end of August, maybe early September. And the trimester tends to be around 11 weeks, and it's going to end right before Thanksgiving. Students will take a final exam in all of their classes, and right after Thanksgiving, they will start second trimester. Now, let me note a couple things. I plugged in conferences. We will have parent-teacher conferences every trimester. And just a little note about final exams. Teachers generally on the first or second day of each class, or when the class starts, they will pass out a course syllabus and they outline the course, including their grading policy. And they will state the weight of their final exam. So students know up front how much the final exam weighs in the final grade. So just a little side note. Okay, so now let's take a look at second trimester. Students will start that second trimester early December. It will end sometime mid-March. Again, that week before, they will take final exams. Third trimester, mid-March, and taking us through the end of the school year. So that's just general breakdown of the trimester. Classes will fall a number of different ways, and I'm using science as an example. Most of our students will be recommended for core chem and core physics, and I'll get into recommendations in a moment. So here's an example, core chem, core physics. The classes may fall first and second trimester, and then the student does not have a third trimester science class. Students have 5 classes each trimester, so a total of 15 for the year, 15 times 4. Students take 60 classes at Seaholm, 60 different opportunities. So lots of choices and time to get everything in. So don't worry about it, because it is the counselor's job to make sure the students are on track for graduation. We audit transcripts constantly, and we make sure our students are on track for graduation. But in this example, core chem, core physics, first and second try. The next example, the student does not have a science class first trimester, and they have core chem second trimester and core physics third trimester. And then the last example, core chem first try, they do not have a science class second try, and then core physics third trimester. So it can fall a number of different ways. If I switched this out with, let's say, Spanish 1A and 1B, it could be first trimester 1A, second trimester 1B, and you can translate that example. I want to point out a couple other things. First of all, the teacher may change from trimester to trimester. That's just the nature of trimesters. And sometimes we have that little gap or break in the middle. For instance, going back to the Spanish example, let's say you had Spanish 1A first trimester and Spanish 1B third trimester. Sometimes parents, they get a little concerned about that gap. Do not worry about it. We've been on trimesters for many years. Our teachers, they know it, and they bring the students back up to par with reviews. And so they're not going to miss a beat. So here are some examples. Ninth grade student schedules. And in this case, this is a typical ninth grade schedule without flex. And I'm going to show you a flex schedule in a moment. So in the green right here, try 1. First hour, the student has English 9A. They go on to personal fitness, integrated math 1A, world history, and their elective choice is band. We have an amazing band and orchestra program, and our students love it. They generally stay in it all 4 years, but from time to time, we'll have students, stop in or call, or parents email, and they'll say, I don't have an elective, and I look at their schedule and they have band. And I have to remind them, band is your elective. That is your choice. And it's a great choice, but you just have to be mindful that might be taking your elective slot in that given trimester or trimesters. So there's try 1, try 2 in yellow. The student continues on with English 9B in this example. They start up their science, continue with math, they start up Spanish, and again, they have band for their elective. Third trimester, you can see they do not have English right now, and they're in core physics. math. And so notice how these curricular areas, they're switching among the hours. You're going to have possibly different teachers. And again, that is the nature of trimesters. So when parents start to, think about high school, and I know it's only, February, but we start this process early and there's plenty of time and we don't want anyone to panic because we're all here as a resource. So what will happen, and I'm going to show you a timeline in a moment just to recap this. I believe it's 2 or 3 slides down. You will be getting the families at Derby and BCS, you will be getting a letter from your school in approximately 2 weeks. And it's going to be a letter containing your students' recommendations for the core area classes. So the current 8th grade teachers make these recommendations. They know your student, they know their aptitude, abilities, their work ethic, and they can help guide you. So they make a recommendation. And I have to tell you, and I know I'm old, 28 years at Seaholm, they get it right. They do. The 8th grade teachers, they get it right. They know your students. We will get phone calls here at Seaholm, and it's a little difficult because we don't know your student. So we really rely on those 8th grade teachers. So if you have any questions about the recommendation they're making for your student, please talk to the 8th grade teacher.
I am so sorry to interrupt you. I just wanted to add that the kids at BCS, they kind of already got an email what their recommendations were for high school.
Oh, love it. Love it.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Okay. Great information. So thank you for letting me know about that, that update. So now let's take a look at the flex, a typical flexi schedule. So flex will take up first and second hour of all 3 tries, and it will knock out all the English and social studies elective or requirements and required electives like speech. So if you have any questions about Flex and you did not have an opportunity to attend that Flex info session, there's information on the Class of 2025 website about Flex, and you can go to the Flex website and we will do our best to answer your questions. So please reach out to any of us. Let's take a look here at the Flex schedule. In Try 1, first and second hour, we have Flex. The student goes on to math, core chem, and then an elective of their choice. And again, this is just an example. And I'm not going to read through each one, but you can see the commitment to Flex during the first and second hour tightens up their schedule a little bit, but it's an amazing program and it's worth it for the students that choose Flex. And from time to time, I'll get questions about, how does Flex look regarding college admissions? Both, I would say, our traditional college prep program and Flex, our students fare very well with college applications. Everyone gets into competitive colleges with the right criteria and requirements, both from Flex and from our college prep programs. Moving on, the counselors at Derby and BCS, if they haven't done so, they will be distributing a 9th grade course selection sheet. And I numbered here, I zoomed in for the students. Each area, we start off with 9th grade academic lab, and I'll explain that in a minute. English, then English electives, social studies, and so on. In each little bucket or curricular area, the student can go ahead and select their courses based on the teacher recommendations. There will be a total of 15 courses, and then the students will also include some alternates in the event something doesn't work out. And then the counselor will go ahead and plug in their alternate if there's a conflict. When we return, well, actually, I'll get to that in a moment. Let me go on to the bell schedule, and then I'm going to talk about the course selection sheet and some other details. So this is our bell schedule for next school year, we hope. And notice that Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we have this block of time. And then Tuesday and Thursday, Oh my gosh. Let me look. Let me flip flop that. I'm sorry. I'm so used to our hybrid schedule right now that I need to get reacquainted with our bell schedule. Tuesday and Thursday, we have X Block. And the purpose of X Block is for students to meet with their teachers to get help with homework, maybe to review a particular concept they did not learn the first time around, or they have questions. Maybe they're prepping for a quiz or a test and they just want to make sure they're studying the right material. Maybe they didn't do so well on a quiz or test and they want to meet with the teacher to learn more so that they can correct their mistakes or learn from it. It may be important foundation or something they'll need that's sequential in nature. So on Tuesday and Thursday, first hour will start at 8:25. So the classes are a little bit shorter, but again, it accommodates that X block time. On Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, classes will start promptly right at 7:30 and end at 2:50. So that's typical, that's what the bookends of our school day looks like. Students are assigned a lunch, an A or B lunch based on their third hour teacher, and that lunch schedule will go out usually the day before school starts. Okay, so again, students are assigned their lunch based on their third hour teacher. So here's that timeline I was talking about. We Zoomed with our BCS and Derby students a week or so ago. Tonight we have our 8th grade orientation night. Recommendations will be made either through letter or email, and it sounds like BCS is already on it. Derby, your letter will be going out shortly. Seaholm counselors will Zoom. We will meet with our BCS and Derby students on February 26th. We will go through that 9th grade scheduling selection form to make sure everyone's placed appropriately. We can answer any questions. We can make changes at that time. We will be working with the students to make sure they enter their classes in Power School. And we will be there with our Alpha group, our own caseload, just helping students and getting to know them and making sure that they have selected the right courses. In August, the students will participate in a freshman orientation. It's called Make Me a Maple. And at that time, they will get their schedule. So even if they have an older sibling, they can see their schedule in Power School. The freshmen will not get their schedules until Make Me a Maple. It's a part of the program. They do some cool things with tours and things like that. And it's a fun event. One of the recommendations that your student may be recommended for is our 9th grade academic lab. And it's a 2-part process, and students don't have to participate in both. We would encourage students to do so, but they could opt for one of them. So let me explain this 2-part process. 9th grade academic lab is a support lab where students may need that extra support in reading and or mathematics. And so if they're recommended through their 8th grade teacher, we strongly encourage our families to honor that teacher's recommendation. It really helps the students transition from middle school to high school, and they'll get that additional support again in reading and or math, and they will be assigned a reading or math teacher to provide that additional curriculum. The other part is that Reading and Math Foundations course, and it takes place through our community education, our summer school program. It's taught by certified teachers. Usually we staff it with our 9th grade academic lab teachers, so they start to get to know the students. There's no cost to the families. It takes place the 2nd term of summer school. I don't have the exact dates at this point, but it does provide students just with a head start in getting some of those study skills, organizational skills, and getting some of that reading and or math support. So ideally, when a student's recommended for 9th grade academic lab, they'll take advantage of the reading and math foundations and the 9th grade academic lab. Again, they don't have to take both, but we encourage it. And a separate letter, in addition to the recommendations that the 8th grade teachers are making, will be sent out to the families actually this month, sometime this month, and it will be coming from our math and English department chairs here at Seaholm. We will be having some form of an activities night in spring. We strongly encourage our students to participate in our amazing activities. We like our students to have that balance where they're participating in school and in co-curricular activities and athletics, and it's a good, healthy balance. Finally, as I close up here, we have our course catalog. It's in a number of locations. I'm going to stop sharing my screen real quickly and go over to our website. And let me get it. Okay, so here's our counseling website, and under class pages, we have the class of 2025. Again, we have tonight's presentation, the 9th grade course selection form, the course catalog, and Mr. Flatter did a nice little detailed video about how to enter your classes in PowerSchool. And again, we'll be back at the middle schools to help students complete that process. But our course catalog, I'll just click right over here. Mike, I can see your face. Can you see right now examples of the 4-year plan, 9th, 10th, 11th grade? Okay, excellent. So this is toward the end of the course catalog. I get mixed reviews from families. Some families have shared some feedback saying, I can only handle 9th grade. I don't want to know about a 4-year plan. It's just too much. So here's an example of 9th grade. Some families like to plan out for 4 years. So I just bubbled in all 4 years. And again, this is toward the end of our course catalog. I think it's page 100 or something like that. You can see the 9th grade is pretty set for the most part. And if it's a student that's considering flex, the first 6 classes or 6 slots will be flex. And then you would plug in math and then science and then any required electives. I encourage students to knock out things like speech and personal fitness and computer tech in the early grades, because I want to open up their schedule so that they can fit in some 3-trimester classes, such as some of our AP courses, or if they need to repeat a course because they didn't pass, or for a grade improvement, or explore electives, or all of the above. So I like knocking out a lot of the requirements early on because it frees up their schedule in the later years. That's just my strategy. So again, thank you. And I started to get a little distracted, I have to be honest, because I kept seeing chat, the number going up from 11, 12, 13, and I think we're up to 25. They could be for me. I'm sorry, I got completely distracted. Kyle, I don't know if you want to answer questions now, or I don't know the timing, or should we do the breakouts?
Yeah, no, yeah. Well, I still have a couple more people to introduce and talk just a little bit, and then I've been trying to answer some of the questions as they came across. So what we'll do is I'm going to introduce 2 more people, and they're going to talk a little bit about about the activities and the athletics. And then we will answer some questions, and we'll do some breakout sessions for specific questions, maybe with the discipline questions, but then we will remain in here, and that by we, I mean the assistant principals, me, Christy Fakaris, and the athletic director, and our activities, our CSO, will remain here if there are any questions that we can answer here. And so let me right now introduce to you our athletic director Aaron Frank, and he's going to just talk a little bit about athletics, and he is here to answer questions later if you have them. So Mr. Frank.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Well, as Mrs. Hall said, my name is Aaron Frank, and this is my 32nd year at Seaholm. I've been AD for 23. This is by far the most unusual one because typically our dates are known and set in stone, and we typically can work at least a year, if not 2 to 3 ahead based on some very solid dates. But as everybody here knows, those have been changing quite a bit. I want to give you a few things that we do know going into next year for our incoming freshman class. The first thing is that at the high school level, we have 3 sports seasons. Most of you that are coming out of Derby BCS and most of the middle schools in our general area have 4 seasons. We have 3, so fall, which begins formally on August 9th. Then we have our winter season. The winter season, the sports actually have rolling start dates. There are different dates for different sports through the month of November. And then our spring sports, which in a typical year and next year are all scheduled to begin on March 14th. At Seaholm, we have a tremendous number of our students participate in interscholastic athletics. We typically have about 1,000 students every year who are participating in at least one sport. And so that means that, in most years, more than 2/3 of our students are participating in a sport. And that number is, skewed quite a bit. We have toward freshmen, we have even higher percentage of freshmen playing a sport. It's something that we highly recommend. We have sports that are extremely competitive. Our girls swim and dive team just won their back-to-back state championship a couple weeks ago. And so, that's an example of a team that's extremely competitive and very, very successful. And we have many teams also that are no-cut sports where we really encourage participation and we really value the opportunity to have everybody on the team who wants to participate. So we are very much hoping that our calendar will be operating on the normal sports schedule next year. So again, it would be August 9th for fall sports. Now, one thing that's also unique about the high school sports versus the middle school is that many of our programs, in fact, the vast majority, have opportunities that they provide during the summertime for students to take advantage of optional workouts and optional practices. So if there is a particular sport that you are involved in and that you have been doing, I want to encourage you to visit the BPS website and visit the athletic pages at Seaholm. And we have a directory of all of our coaches. And even at this early time, you could email the coach and just get on the distribution list so that you can kind of, you're included in the communications about the activities that are, taking place and getting prepared for the summertime. Everything else there's going to be some other changes and things that we won't know until we get a little bit closer. I typically provide information about what's required for the pre-participation physical exam and other things like that at this time, but there will probably be some changes to those timing pieces. So right now, keep in mind August 9th, especially if you're planning some family trips. I want to encourage everyone to participate, get on the mailing list of the coaches, and also feel free to email me or give me a call with any individual questions you might have. And thank you. I look forward to meeting you.
Thanks, Mr. Frank. I appreciate that. Yes, it is a wonderful experience to participate in athletics and extracurriculars here at Seaholm. We highly, highly, highly encourage it. Engage students who are involved and connected do better, not only socially, but also emotionally and and academically. So it is great to be involved. We have a lot of students involved in athletics, and I hope you enjoy also the kinds of healthy pursuits that are mind, body, and spirit. And so there's always something in athletics that you can be involved in. but we also have many extracurricular activities as well. And our community service organizer will also, she's going to explain, Dr. Suzanne O'Leary is going to explain some of those to you, and also the component of community service, which is, again, such a healthy part of the character education, but also a healthy part of our human interaction. And so we often encourage, or I often encourage our families to be sure that they're doing things also that will help their spirit. And sometimes that pursuit in community services is just the thing to help a student connect to Seaholm and to our community as well. And we're very proud of some of the activities that we have. So Dr. O'Leary.
Hi, everyone. I just want to welcome you all, class of 2025. I wish we could see you in person, but hopefully we will do that soon. So as Kyle Hall just mentioned, I'm the community service organizer at Seaholm. And I hope that, just to start off, I just hope you all got a chance to take a look at that Welcome Class 2025, because as we've mentioned it several times, there's lots of information on there. And as you know, you can visit the different academic departments and find out more information about them. But there's also a page on athletics and a page on clubs and activities. So if you visit the clubs and activities, there is the list of contact information on all the clubs and activities. There's the activity guide. And so you can, just like with athletics, if there's things you're interested, you can always reach out to the different people on that contact information. So please take a look at that site if you haven't already. And I just wanted to mention too, a little bit about, we will start tours next week for families that are not in the Birmingham Public School District right now. If you are attending in the Birmingham Public Schools, we are not doing tours yet. We hope down the road we will be able to do that for you. But also, as we mentioned earlier on the flex part, there are a lot of families here that participate in both parts of the talk that are interested in comparing the flex program with the traditional program. And we will try to work out a way that maybe you can zoom into some of those classes so you can make that decision. So just wanted to let you know that I also do that. And you can reach out to me if you're interested or you have any questions about this transition over to Seaholm. I'd be happy to help you with that. And in terms of the clubs and activities, like Kyle Hall just mentioned, it is so important for your kids to get involved if it's not athletics, or it can be both. Most of our students actually do both. They work very hard in academics, but they get involved in activities and athletics as well. So I would love to help you in any way that I can in that. Just want to tell you that even during this unusual time where we were virtual, almost 100%, we were 100% virtual till just a few weeks ago, our students and our club advisors still found ways to keep our students involved and keep ways to run their clubs, even though we were virtual. We had the Model UN just last weekend. They were invited to the Yale United Nations on a virtual conference, and they did really well. We had our Spanish Honor Society making fleece blankets and infinity scarves for children in the hospital. Our robotics teams last November had to, since it was all virtual, they had to put together what they would build on a video, but they did all this virtually, and the students were involved. So it's amazing how you can be creative during these unusual and challenging times. And then the service clubs, which I love. There's many service clubs to get involved in. The two Club SOS, Schools Author Support, and the Interact Club are two of my favorite clubs. And these clubs, during the pandemic, they were still able to come together and help people. They did some outside activities like raking leaves. They also made cars for seniors and vets and children's in the hospital. They collected gifts and raised money. So even though there was a pandemic, they thought of new ways to do things. In addition to clubs, we also have students that have just wanted to help other people at this time. And they have come up with their own service project. And they've asked to, an example, someone wanted to make masks and collect money and use the money for people in need. we had some students organize food drives just on their own and just out of their own hearts wanted to help other people. So I'm always so impressed and amazed with our students. They're really always, they come up with many ideas themselves. So just want to welcome you again. If there's anything I can do to help you with the transition, please reach out to me. If there's any club or activity you want your student to get involved in, I'd be happy to help you with that as well. So thank you. Can't wait to see you soon.
Thanks, Dr. O'Leary. And again, highly encourage you to be involved at Seaholm. There is something for everyone. And as Mr. Wicker and Ms. Spryzak suggested, the clubs and activities, if you don't have one that if you don't see one here, we are happy to create one, okay, in aligned with your interests, okay? So we definitely want you to be involved. We want you to connect to Seaholm and be a part of our community. So thank you for those small reports. And now we are turning our attention to the curricular areas. And I would like to introduce these instructional leaders. These are the people who really make it happen in terms of our instruction, content, curriculum, pedagogy, technology. These are the people that weave the magic into our academics. And so I'm very, very proud of this team and I want to introduce each of them to you. So I'm going to ask, just so that you can see them, okay, that they say hello and welcome. And if they want to say anything else, that's fine too, but I'm going to just go through. So if the department chairs, if you just unmute yourselves right now and we'll get through this. We have Mr. Brad Shupride.
Hi, everybody.
Okay, he is our science department chair. Miss Rochelle Rogers.
Hi, welcome. We're so excited to have your students in the building.
Okay, and she is social studies. Some of you saw her in the Flex program. Miss Robin Moten.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. Can't wait to see you next year.
And again, she is was in the Flex program. She is our acting English department chair and former Flex teacher for many years. And so thank you for that. Mr. Thad Wilhelm.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome.
He is our mathematics department chair. Miss Hallie Snyder.
Hi, everyone.
Okay,
welcome.
and thank you. And Hallie is in charge of our CFE, okay, and that's our career-focused education courses, business, engineering. We have a fabulous opportunities in those courses, life management, foods, just some wonderful, wonderful, diverse courses that students can take and programs that can really benefit you. Mr. Carlos Torres.
Hola, buenas noches a todos. Gracias por visitarnos.
Okay, guess what?
I'll tell you later in my Zoom what that means.
All right, he is our World Language Department Chair and currently teaching Hispanic Perspectives and doing a fabulous job at that as well. And Mrs. Teresa Rogers, who is our Special Services Department Chair. I thought I saw you there.
I am. Yep. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming. And it's so exciting to see everyone and to think about getting started on next year already.
That's great. And so thank you. So if you have any questions about students who might need some of that extra support from Special Services, Teresa will be here to answer any questions that you might have. And of course, you all met and just heard from Mrs. Christy Fakaris, who is our counseling department chair as well. And so all of us are your instructional leaders and administration, and we are here to make your time at Seaholm beneficial to you emotionally, to you mentally, and intellectually, socially. We want to do it all, okay? And because that's what high school is about. That's what learning is about, and we really take pride in that. So I am going to now ask you to go and visit with the department chair that you might have questions for. For example, I just see there is required to take 3 trimesters of integrated math. Well, that's a complicated answer, okay? There's a little more to that. So you might want to check in with Dr. Wilhelm and see what the answer is to that, because it depends. And if you have a question about any of these, we will be on the department chairs will be in their rooms, their Zoom rooms for the next 20 minutes for certain. If we have more questions, we'll accommodate those. And so you can find their Zoom links on our webpage. If you just quickly toggle back onto the webpage, you can find them and there, and I'm going to ask them now to depart and take charge of that. The people here will be the administrators and the athletic director and Christy, our counselor. Of course, you're welcome to stay here and ask us questions. If you have just questions pertaining to our general schedule, anything related to athletics and or student activities. So we're happy. I'm going to give you all a minute to depart if you'd like to. Okay, so if we can look at some of the questions that maybe came in at the end here. The link to the world languages should be on our webpage. That would be under Mr. Carlos Torres. They're on the main webpage. Okay, so just toggle over to our BPS, to Seaholm's webpage, and you'll find it there. And does Seaholm teach Latin or Greek roots or grammar? We do, depending on the course that you're in. You will get some of that. And I think that's it so do you have any new questions? Does anybody have a new question they would like to start now for any one of us?
Hi there, good evening. I just had a quick question about the process. You talked a lot about like how the process for new students would work if they attend a Birmingham public school now, but what about private school students? Like how exactly should we go about accomplishing some of these tasks?
Right, yes, I see what you're saying. I think it'll be very much like a new student, right? So that if you would like to come in, if you haven't had a chance to have a tour, if you'd like to come and see us, we are conducting tours for families outside of BPS on a limited basis, just to make sure that we are practicing our social distancing and that kind of thing. And Dr. O'Leary takes care of those. And so she talked to you about, she's our community service organizer. And so she works with families to have them come over, and we take the student around to show them around. We can also schedule a meeting with a counselor if you have questions about counselor, or with our athletic director if you have questions about athletics, and with me if you have questions for me.
That's great. Thank you. Oh, sorry.
Are students at Seaholm back in school now?
Currently, we are on a what we call a hybrid cohort system. And so we have a cohort A and a cohort B. And then we also have a group of students who are what we call live streaming into the classroom. So that's how we are currently. And we are in this format through the end of this trimester. And at the start of next trimester, board just voted actually today, okay? And so we will be returning without a cohort starting on March 15th. So we'll be full return, and then some students, some portions, families who can opt into live streaming for their courses.
All right, that's how Derby is working right now too.
Right.
So I'm pretty used to that already. Thank you.
Good. Yeah, you're welcome.
There were a couple of questions in the chat. I'm sorry, Mr. Wicker, we're probably going to step on each other's toes with this one. But there was a question about volleyball that I wanted to direct at Aaron Frank. The question was, is volleyball a no-cut sport?
No, the answer is volleyball is not. In fact, to be blunt, volleyball might be one of the most competitive cut sports because we are limited in the number of students we can have on the team, and it's just very popular. So we do have a lot of students who come out for volleyball, and it happens to be one of the ones where we do make cuts.
Thank you. And then there's another question that Christy, this one's for you, Christy Fakaris. What's the benefit of taking honors versus traditional classes?
Unmute myself. So we offer 21 honors courses and 25 advanced placement courses. And so fast forward to fall of your senior year and students are applying to colleges. If they're applying to a competitive college, they will want to see that the student has taken, you know, some advantage of the honors and or AP opportunities that we offer. So that would be one of the main reasons students would do that is for college purposes, to maybe place at a higher level in college and possibly get some college credit too based on their AP exam scores. So there's actually a number of reasons why students would want to take advantage of that.
One of the other things, having taught two different levels, like I taught economics and AP economics, if your student has a deep interest in the subject, usually the honors courses go into it in a deeper level. So something like economics was a 1-trimester course, but the AP economics curriculum, it was a 2-trimester course. So we were able to get deeper into it, cover some topics that we weren't able to cover. There's a question out there saying, what's the difference between an AP and an honors course? So our honors courses at Seaholm, the curriculum is created by the staff, where our AP courses follow the AP curriculum as dictated by College Board. Or is there a better answer than that, Ms. Fakaris?
No, that's perfect. Thank you. Question about course selection forms. Derby and BCS have set their own deadlines. So I would direct you back to the counselor, the middle school counselor. I want to say Derby was actually February 12th, but I don't want to give you wrong information. So I would double check with your student's middle school counselor.
There's also a question about the difference between Groves and Seaholm. The schools are pretty much the same. You know, we have a friendly rivalry. I was an administrator at Groves, so taking my experience in Groves and bringing it to Seaholm, they're all the same. They love kids. They love helping them develop into wonderful citizens. So what's the difference? About 1.5 miles. That's about the only difference between the two schools.
And I taught at Groves for 2 years before I came back to Seaholm as well. And one of the great things is each building does have some unique courses, but one of the nice things about Seaholm and Birmingham Public Schools in general is we have a class like AP Computer Science that's only offered at Seaholm, but Groves kids come to Seaholm for that course, or things like architectural design and advanced architectural design taught only at Groves. Seaholm kids get to go to Groves to take those classes. So that is one of those nice things that allows both of our students to be in each other's buildings.
So on the form sheet for your classes, under the fine arts, it says 1/2 credit required for fine arts or music education for graduation. Does that mean you have to take it in 9th grade, or do you just need to take it? Do you just need to take like 1 trimester of it through your whole high school career? Like, I don't know.
That's an excellent question. So in our course catalog, we have our graduation requirements, and the counselors always make sure you're on track, and we will always answer your questions about courses and graduation requirements. But we have like a nice little chart here of our grad requirements, and you'll notice on it that fine arts, you need to complete 0.5 or 1 class. It's a 1/2 credit of fine arts, and you can do that anytime throughout your 4 years at Seaholm. That's a short answer. There's some little details, but I don't think it's important right now to get into that.
Okay, so you just don't have to take it in 9th grade? Like, you don't have to take it in 9th grade? Okay,
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah, you have a little time, like 4 years.
But you can, if you choose to take band, orchestra, or choir, or any of the fine arts classes your freshman year. We have lots of freshmen who do knock that credit out their freshman year, but it's certainly not required.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, my name is Leslie Redwine. I have two questions. My daughter, her name is Mary Kate Redwine, and she'll be attending Seaholm in the fall. The first question is regarding, we talked to Mr. Torres just briefly, but Mary Kate takes French, and she also is in orchestra. She plays the violin, and just want to know how will that work for ninth grade students? He shared that you would have a better answer, Mr. Wicker, but that most of those classes happen in the morning. And so just want to make sure she'll be all set up for success for that.
So we don't necessarily know how the master schedule is a big puzzle that has ever moving pieces. And I have the pleasure of putting it together. So we have a French program at Seaholm, and luckily we also have a French program at Groves, so it doubles the amount of hours available for our students to take it. For the most part, orchestra is usually in the afternoon because our orchestra instructors at both Groves and Seaholm teach at Derby and Berkshire in the mornings. So it depends on what level French she may be in, but usually between Groves and Seaholm, students can get a French section. The most difficult language to schedule right now is Chinese because we have the fewer sections of it. But I cannot sit here and guarantee you that we can make French and orchestra work. But I know that there's usually multiple hours of every French class. So usually we try our hardest to get the student in with Miss Karen Marks, who is the Seaholm French teacher. But the French teachers at Groves are excellent as well. So there might be, as Ms. Vaqueros pointed out, a trimester where they might have, let's say, French 2B at Groves, where they had French 2A at Seaholm, or French 3B or 3A. But we work really hard to try to make all the electives work, but without looking at the numbers, and scheduling just began. But I believe that most students receive the classes they want. I also know that Mr. Karpinski, our orchestra director, does understand that not every student can take orchestra all 3 trimesters. He is very happy when he gets his kids for at least 2. So, and that's the decision that students need to make about 3 music classes like band, choir, and orchestra. And it is okay. You can still be part of these programs if you cannot fit all 3 trimesters into your schedule.
Perfect. Thank you.
Very welcome.
Do we have any other questions here for maybe athletics right now? Because otherwise we're going to let Mr. Frank enjoy the rest of his evening, and or Dr. O'Leary. Do we have any questions for them about athletics and or activities that you might have, or any tour if you are a non-BPS student?
So this is Ms. Redwine again.
Sure,
I do have a question about athletics. So what about students who are, non-competitive athletes, but want to play for physical activity and exercise? Like, what is the biggest recommendation for ways to get them involved in sports? My daughter, she played tennis, not as competitively, I would say, in middle school. And this year she didn't play at all, really. So what would be like a kind of launch pad for a student like that?
Okay, well, as far as tennis goes, let me say this. We actually have 3 tennis teams. We have a JVB tennis team, and we try to accommodate students as much as possible who fall into the category of maybe not being ultra competitive or interested in ultra competitive end of athletics, but really wanting the opportunity to participate, connect with other students, and have that social, emotional, and physical connection that comes from participating on a team. So we try to do that wherever possible in all of our sports. Now, one of the things that I have listed, and I see someone asked the question about listing the no-cut sports. If you go onto the Seaholm Athletic webpage, or Seaholm page, on the BPS site, and then go to athletics. There's a paragraph that says, what sports does Seaholm offer? And you can download a little PDF, and it lists out every sport, the contact information, and whether or not we traditionally make cuts in that sport. Now, I'll say to you that it can change from year to year. Sometimes if there's a huge influx of students that want to go out for a certain sport. But for the most part, the cut, no cut portion of that is 100% accurate. And then the last thing I would say is to the question you asked about advice. So in the years I've been doing this, I think I've had, banquet chicken about 1,500 times and over the years. And our seniors at most of our banquets get up and have an opportunity to speak. And I couldn't even begin to count for you the number of times when, a young man or a young woman who's getting ready to head off to college will stand up and literally in tears thank their parent for forcing them to get out of the car when they were a freshman. And they'll say, my mom said I had to do cross country or I had to pick something. And she pushed me out of the car and I was so angry, but it's the greatest thing. And I'm so thankful. And this team has meant so much to me. It's really a common and repetitive occurrence. So I would say, take a look at the list, see if there is something that your child has an interest in, if they're not already, connected to a particular fall sport, and push that little bird out of the nest, because our coaches are really wonderful. They're teachers. We consider our athletic fields and pools and gyms to be really more of that 6th class period of the day. And we will do everything that we can to really wrap our arms around your young, just out of middle school young person. And really our coaches do an amazing job of helping turn them into young men and young women. So I'd say, you can do it. And if you have any questions, if there's a particular sport or something you're thinking about maybe, or maybe a few you're deciding between, feel free to call me and I'll be happy to talk you through it.
And I just want to encourage the same thing. Over the years, just watching, and as a mother who's now got 2 grown young men, it's so hard to see your kid in pain, right? And it's hard not to want to prevent it. And that is one of the biggest things about high school as we see the students develop, is you have to let go of that. You have to give them that encouragement to go ahead and try it. And whether that's in sports or whether that's in attending school, like when they have a speech and they don't want to give the speech and they're afraid to get in front of the room, to do that. Sometimes I think as a mom, I might have inadvertently told my kid that, oh, you're right, I don't think you can do it, when I said, all right, you can stay home, and we have to really work hard at avoiding that. And that's why I think sometimes, the Middle Ages had it right when they used to foster kids out to some other family, it's because it was easier for them to say no to the kids, and they knew that in 1200. And so I think that it's a difficult thing to do as a parent, but it is a necessary thing to do. And we watch it here at the school with, 1,300 kids. And it's something that, within reason, right? They're freshmen and you want to let them go and you want to encourage them and you want to force them sometimes to do things, and then they get that measure of success and realize they can do it. And then that leads to another try. But we have also counselors here and people here to support students who fail, who might not get to have that, achieve that. And that's hard. There's nothing harder sometimes than holding your kid when he hasn't made the varsity baseball team. Okay, I know that. And so these moments hurt, but the kids are resilient and they can get through it. And you can get through it as parents and as moms by saying, this is not the end of the world. This is a moment in life, and we're going to be here. We have counselors here for them. You'll be here for them. We'll be here for them. And I think that it's really important that we do it. Okay, any other questions for us, for our athletics and or activities.
Okay.
Groves has generally about the same number of students that we do. We have around, if you count every single student, you know, and that sounds funny because you should count every single student, but there's different, you know, students go to the IA and things like that in our counts. But we have right around students who come in right around 1,300, not quite. And Groves has a few less, but I've noticed over the years that I've been here, it's fluctuated. You know, sometimes we've had 100 more, sometimes they've had 100 more, sometimes 50, and sometimes it's just about the same, but it's very, very close.
So I'm interested in doing water polo, but I haven't really ever done it before. Do you have to have any prior experience? I mean, like, I've been swimming for a few years, but do you have to have any prior water polo experience?
So, Carrie, as the former girls water polo coach, I will tell you that most freshmen have never played before. And if you can swim and you're a strong swimmer, I think that you would have a great opportunity. I know this is your area, Mr. Frank, but it's the only sport I got to coach. So I wanted to let them know. But yes, if you know how to swim, that's the hardest part of water polo is swimming. So if you can do that, that is the biggest first part.
Okay, great. Thank you.
All right. Well,
I was trying to type a response, but I got distracted here. There's a question about scholarship opportunities. Yes, counselors provide scholarship opportunities, but Seaholm has a full-time career and college counselor who also guides students through that process. Do you want to take that, Christy?
Yeah, I was typing up a response too, Dolores, and I wasn't fast enough. Yes, the counselors do assist students. Typically that happens senior year. However, we have some opportunities, scholarship opportunities for juniors. And our college and career center specialist, Mrs. Guyan Huddy, is amazing. And every week she posts scholarship opportunities on e-news. Dr. O'Leary knows because she gets all the submissions and it's a lengthy list. And but yes, please check out our counseling and career website, and you can see what's currently being, what's currently posted, and check it out on a weekly basis so you get an idea of the flow of activity.
And every year we, the counselors are great at offering evenings where they talk about things like college and career. So please, feel free to attend those. You don't have to be a junior to attend a college night to learn a little bit more about it if you're interested in when you're a freshman. So sometimes it's important to, if you know and you drive and you know what you want to do when you graduate, then you can start planning ahead. It's not necessary. You don't have to know that I'm going to be this when I finish up, or I'm going to go here, but some people do and they plan that. So please take advantage of all of the opportunities that our counseling department offers to meet college reps who come in to visit, we have evenings where we talk about that. And also please consider being a part of the PTA. Our Parent Teacher Association has done some wonderful things, especially here in our pandemic era, by really trying to be a communicating drive between, or mediator or facilitator between us, among us. And so please, they also help. And so sometimes we just had last month at our PTA town hall, we had the counseling come, we had the college and career counselor come to talk about some of the things that students could possibly take advantage of, and the courses that we offer that could help support students in their interests for post high school. And it doesn't have to be just college. We have wonderful OTEC program. We have wonderful opportunities. We're even seeing an occasional gap year for students. And so we're really happy to talk to you about what happens, after high school. I see here a question about diversity, equity, and inclusion. We have a variety of, what we're trying to do really is not a program. We want it to be integrated into the very fabric of all that we do here at Seaholm High School. I can tell you that in terms of our curriculum, which I think is an essential component to any kind of culturally responsive work that we have is, what is going on in our classrooms, what is going on in the curriculum, because we don't want it to simply be a program or something after school or something done once, although that's wonderful to do. And we love celebrations and we love paying attention to those specific components as well. But when I was the English department chairperson, I know that we got together and we examined our curriculum and said, where is it being, inclusive? Where is it not being inclusive? And we have those difficult and frank conversations, and really transformed in many ways to balance our curriculum so that we could acknowledge a variety of different cultures within our reading selections and our resources. Currently, we have in 12th grade, students we offered choice, and we said, okay, what is your first trimester going to be of English 12? And so students get the choice of future studies, humanities, or social justice. And I'll tell you, social justice is hands down the most popular course. We run multiple sections of it, but social justice is the one we run the most of. So we have a specific course in that, but that is from a leading of what was transformed in the 9th grade, the 10th grade, and the 11th grade to lead into that 12th grade program. We are doing the same thing in history, in our social studies department, and looking at even beyond that. We have, in fact, professional development is on Thursday, and the very topic is equity literacy. And so, we're looking forward to working and examining more ways that we can be sure that we're addressing these extremely important topics in our world, and definitely in our world here at Seaholm High School. The staff also is participating in some book studies. This year we're reading, this book is Anti-Racist and How to Be an Anti-Racist and Dare to Lead. And so we're reading these books, the staff gets together, we talk about them, and we again talk about the context of what is going on in our building here at Seaholm High School. And so very relevant and an excellent question. In fact, I think the district is going to be conducting an equity audit coming up. And so that is some information that we're going to be sharing, I think, on Thursday at the professional development. And so, so I appreciate that question, because I think it's an important one. And I'm pleased and proud of some of the work that we're doing toward that. And we need to do more.
And there's a lot of student-led opportunity for that as well. We have a diversity club. We have a GSA, the Gender Sexuality Alliance. We have our Black Student Union. So a lot of student opportunities, as well as our Student Voice program that allows our students to share what's going on in the building. And we are receptive to their thoughts and feelings. Your secondary question, are there dual degree programs at Seaholm allowing students to earn college credit? We do allow dual enrollment, where students can take a one-off course. And we also are part of the early college program at OCC, that if students want to enroll, they end up spending 5 years at Seaholm, but their senior year, and as my students call it, their super senior year, they have enough opportunities to spend time at OCC that they can leave after 5 years of high school with enough credits to earn an associate's degree from Oakland Community College. I don't have a lot of details on that program. I'm sure my good friend, Mrs. Sakaris, could fill you more in if you'd like to write her a message. But we do have an opportunity for students to dual enroll at places like OCC, Lawrence Tech, as well as that program that allows them to get an entire associate's degree.
There's another question. How are students programmed for AP classes?
I'll answer that. The first AP opportunity takes place in 10th grade, our AP US History course. And then from that point on, we have 25 in total AP courses that we offer at Seaholm. And I believe Mr. Wicker mentioned earlier, students also have the opportunity to take courses at Groves as well. Sometimes, I believe, last year we offered environmental at Groves, although I think we have enough kids and we're running at Seaholm this year. So that's a good thing. But nonetheless, it's a great opportunity for students to go between the two high schools.
Also, our AP
Right, so-
programs are self-selected.
Mhm.
So if a student wants to try to challenge themselves, they get to choose if they'd like to take an AP class. We do not have any sort of barriers to entry, though teacher recommendation is often encouraged. But if a student took American history their 10th grade year and they wanted to take AP American history their 11th grade year because they love history, that is an opportunity. Or if they took, I used to try to get as many of my regular economics students to take AP economics as a senior as I could if I saw that spark in them.
And we also, we offer some APs and then Grove stuff. So it balances out. Okay, so both schools try to do that so that we can offer to our student body a wide range of APs. But we have seen over the last dozen years, AP enrollment just exponentially explode. And it's a good thing. Our students are doing really well in it. When I taught AP Lit, I remember having one section, okay, and now we have like 6 sections, okay? So it's a great thing to see when the students were really, you know, when we didn't lock the doors or didn't hold the gate shut too much, you know, we found that a lot more students participated and did well. And so it's great to see. Okay, it is getting late. It's right around 8:30. And last question, or we're going to call it a night. And thank you for coming. And if you have any other questions, you know, all of us here at Seaholm really want to answer them. We want to support you. We want to be a welcoming place where you can drop your kid off in the morning and feel good, okay, about where he is and that he's in good hands or she's in good hands. So thank you so much for coming tonight, and take care and stay in touch, and we will be in touch as well with you. So have a great, great night. Bye, everyone.